take a fucking picture and they go back home. But I think there's deeper meaning hiding under all that. Something the person who created it wanted to express. Something true.
Hello Westworld fans, we are back today with another Westworld video. We will be taking a closer look at the preview trailer for episode 9, Vanishing Point, an episode that looks like it will be centered on William, aka the Man in Black, and there's a lot of good stuff to get into in this preview. And we're also going to be analyzing another preview video that was released 2 weeks ago in anticipation of the episode Phase Space. It includes certain scenes that we have seen since play out, but it also has unaired footage that may provide us some clues as to how Season 2 is going to end. And of course, make sure you comment your ideas, theories, deductions in the comment section below, and let's try to piece this puzzle together. We'll start with the first shot of the preview trailer. It opens with a party scene that features several guests dressed in fancy suits and clothes, and in the center of the room is William. There are a few more shots of this party throughout the trailer. This shot here looks like William is arriving to the party, and based on his strut, he doesn't seem to be too excited for it. Then there's another shot with William and his daughter Emily, now as an adult. The shot comes right after a flashback shot from Emily as a child, a scene that we saw play out in episode 2, Reunion. And the final shot of the trailer is also the final shot that we see in this party. It features a woman that has yet to appear on the show. Based on the voiceover for the trailer, we can assume that this is an older version of William's wife, who we first saw in a flashback scene during episode 2. Even in their younger days, it was apparent that William's wife wasn't too fond of him. He goes in for the kiss and she kinda backs off. It's never a good sign. Maybe he has bad breath, I don't know. Additional focus is put on William's wife's suicide in this preview. We see extended shots of the bathtub in which she took her own life, scenes that we saw glimpses of in the 4th episode, Riddle of the Sphinx. While watching Major Craddock abuse Lawrence and his family, William began to think back on his wife's suicide, which inspires him to save Lawrence and his family. It's a moment of redemption for the Man in Black, but his altruistic turn didn't stop Lawrence from betraying him in episode 7, after Lawrence begins to remember all the terrible things that William did to him in season 1. But going back to the preview, there are 2 voices heard in this preview. The first voice belongs to an unknown woman who we can assume is William's wife. She says, "Tell me the truth, tell me one true thing." Then we can hear William's voice. He says, "No one else sees it, the thing in me. Even I didn't see it at first. Then one day it was there. The stain, invisible to everyone except you." We know from the conversation that William had with his daughter in episode 6 that everyone in William's life was fooled by his nice guy act, including his daughter. There is a focus on Emily in this preview when he says it was invisible to everyone. Emily tells her father that the only person who saw through him was her mother. William seems to admit that in this preview, saying that she could see the stain. It's an interesting choice of words, and a little bit of a callback to season 1, when Dolores tells Logan in episode 9 that
there is beauty in this world. Arnold made it that way, but people like you keep spreading over it like a stain.
Okay, I don't know who the fuck this Arnold is, but your world was built for me and people like me.
The use of the word stain suggests that William might be regretting the role that he played in the host's suffering over the past 35 years. A younger William once wanted to free Dolores from the park, believing that it was inhumane to keep her there, and an even older William comes to regret the pain that he caused to Lawrence's family in season 1. Watching Major Craddock torture Lawrence and his family inspired William to save them, so maybe William will go a step further over the next 2 episodes. So far in season 2, William and Dolores have yet to be reunited in the present time period, but from this shot we know that they will come face to face at one point over the next 2 episodes. It looks like William unsuccessfully tries to shoot Dolores, then there is another shot where Dolores is riding with William. If you look closer, the man appears to be dressed in all black. Maybe William's final chance of redemption will be teaming up with Dolores and helping her on her quest. We both know that they are headed to the door. Dolores wants to use it while William wants to destroy it. I wouldn't put it past William wanting to destroy both Westworld and the world he calls home. If you remember, he's not too fond of the real world. Going back to the line spoken by William's wife, it's another callback to season 1. In episode 5, during his conversation with Dr. Ford, William tells Ford that he believes there is a deeper meaning hidden in the park. Of course, we know now that he was talking about the maze, and when Ford asks him what he hopes to find when he reaches the center of the maze, William responds that he hopes to find something true. There is also another scene from Season 1 that foreshadows a potential alliance between William and Dolores. In the Season 1 finale, William wants Dolores to lead him to Wyatt, who will then lead him to the center of the maze. Of course, William isn't aware in this moment that the maze is simply a metaphor for the path towards consciousness. Regardless, he begs Dolores to bring him to Wyatt.
This world doesn't belong to you.
Oh, but it does. By a majority share. And business is booming. And you want to know why? Because this place feels more real than the real world. Except it isn't. Because you can't really fight back. And the guests can't really lose. Which means all of this is a lie. But we can make it true. Don't you want that, Dolores? One true thing.
As for the party that we see attended by William, Emily, and who I believe to be William's wife, there are two scenarios that I can see playing out at this party. First, this could be a flashback scene to some company function or celebration that may provide us more insight into the falling out of William's family. There's a focus on Emily as a child, and then it switches quickly to Emily as an adult. William says that his true nature was invisible to everyone, so maybe at this point, Emily still believes her father is a good man. We also might get more information as to Emily's true ambitions in visiting the Raj and then Westworld and seemingly attempting to find Delos' secret project. We still really don't know what Emily wants. We left off with Emily riding in, finding her father with Ghost Nation, telling Ghost Nation that she could torture him worse than they could ever imagine. So Emily, like most characters in the show, is a wild card, and we're going to have to see how it plays out. We also might see in this scene the final conversation had between William and his wife before she committed suicide. The second scenario is that this party is taking place in the current timeline and everyone in attendance is a host. The entire thing being designed by Ford as a way to troll William once again. There's an upcoming scene between Ford and William that we have yet to see in Season 2, where the two characters are sitting at a bar. Now, in this shot, you can see that Dr. Ford slides something across the table to William. At first, I thought it was like a playing card or something like that. It's very strangely edited, too. This is not us messing with the footage. This is just how it is. This is how it plays out. It's not slow motion, fast motion. Kind of slides into William's hand and then kind of disappears. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know what's going on here. But it's hard to tell what it is. It might be a metaphorical key for the door that William is trying to find, and little does he know the door is his secret project. I'm really interested to see how this whole sequence plays out. It's always great when you get a conversation between Ford and William, man versus God. This could either be a flashback scene or a scene taking place in the current time period where Ford is still in control of Bernard, and that's how he's able to talk to William. We still don't know how William is going to escape from his daughter, but he obviously does because we see him in scenes without Emily, where he's with other characters. He is seen here pointing a gun to his head. He's with Ford. He's with Dolores. So Emily might not get her way in torturing her father. As for the other shots that we see in this preview, we see Teddy and Dolores fighting against several members of Ghost Nation. This is a confrontation that has become inevitable by last episode, and we already got hints of it in the first episode of Season 2, but in the previous episode we learned that Akichita, the first conscious host in Westworld, is gathering his people to lead them to the door. Vanishing Point is definitely a fitting title for this episode since several character arcs are running parallel to the same location. We theorized in one of our previous videos that Dolores and Maeve might have been red herrings this entire time, and that Akichita will be the one to lead the hosts out of the park, not Dolores and not Maeve. Dolores' path towards consciousness by embracing her role as Wyatt may have been initiated by Ford as a way to create chaos in the park, thus creating an opening for Akichita and the other hosts to escape. And if you think about it, if that is Ford's true plan with Dolores, it's very similar to what Arnold wanted to do with Dolores as well. He gave her the Wyatt role hoping that this would destroy the park, killing him, killing all of the hosts, and shutting it down for good. In a way, Ford is kind of shutting down the park. He wants the hosts to escape so that they can take over the world. It takes Arnold's plan and kind of improves on it. Maeve, on the other hand, has been reluctant to take on the role of leader. She's mostly been focusing on finding and protecting her daughter, but now that she knows her daughter is being protected by Akichita and Ghost Nation, maybe she will be more accepting of her role as a natural leader and leader for the hosts. This could also explain why Dolores is hunting down the members of Ghost Nation. Maybe she figured out that she was basically being set up as a sacrificial lamb by Ford, and she begins to hunt down all the members of Ghost Nation. There's a shot in this trailer where Maeve can be seen talking to Dr. Ford. There were definitely not enough scenes between these two characters in Season 1. Two great actors that didn't share the screen enough, so this is a welcome sight. This scene may shed some more light on the plans that Ford had for Maeve in Season 1. We've all speculated that Ford was the one who was changing Maeve's code in Season 1, and maybe this is where he solidifies that theory.
No. It's not possible. These are my decisions. No one else's. I planned all of this.
No, you didn't.
Here we have a shot of Teddy, who seems to be fresh off of a new resurrection. This scene is presumably taking place in the 2-week later timeline, after Strand and his team recovered the hosts that were found dead in the flooded valley. We might see Teddy die in either episode 9 or 10, since it wouldn't make sense as to why Teddy would let Dolores travel alone with somebody as dangerous as William. Maybe Dolores just said, hey, Teddy, sit this one out, I'm going to go with William, we're going to do some stuff and I'll come back for you, but I doubt that. This Teddy looks like the Teddy we grew to know and love rather than the Terminator Teddy from the past couple of episodes. I mean, he has been awesome. I mean, when he killed Coughlin, I still don't think Coughlin's dead. I don't know if he punched him enough times. Strand and his team are definitely going to have some questions for Teddy, since he's basically been the Robin to Dolores' Batman throughout Season 2. Although Batman doesn't kill. Zack Snyder's Batman. Damian Wayne Robin. Here we have a shot of Clementine looking at her reflection in the mirror, so Clementine is back alive. We knew that, too, from this shot where she can be seen running away from one of the armored buggies. But if we take a look at this corresponding shot, Clementine is also watching some host-on-host violence. Now, this could be a flashback because I don't remember these hosts in the behavior lab when Clementine was shot to death, but maybe she's experiencing a flashback in her memory. And in this shot, we see Bernard holding a handgun outside of the Westworld Mesa, and most likely still under Ford's control. Now, there are a couple of more shots that I wanted to talk about from the I Want Their World preview video. Most of these scenes have already played out in Season 2, but there are a few that we haven't yet seen, starting with these two shots right here. Now, these two shots, with Bernard appearing in both of them, might be happening in the same place, but occurring at different times. In the first shot, Bernard says that this isn't a dream, it's a fucking nightmare. He is seen holding a gun and pointing it at something off-screen. In this moment, he may be continuing his struggle with Ford for control over his body. And in this next scene, Bernard can be seen being escorted by Strand and his men. It looks like he does have handcuffs on. Charlotte Hale and Ashley Stubbs are also present in this shot. This room is reminiscent of the facility where Bernard and Elsie Hughes found James Delos in episode 4 when he was going crazy. It's engulfed in red like James Delos' hellish testing chamber, but the design of the room is a bit different. Now, these two scenes might be happening in the same room, or one of these may be the facility that was hinted at in episode 7. If you remember in the 7th episode, Les Accorges, Bernard tells Strand and his men that Peter Abernathy's control unit is located in Sector 16, Zone 4, which happens to be the location of the flooded valley. But Bernard was most likely misleading Strand and his men. We can see Bernard whisper something to Hale, who then calls in Strand and has Bernard repeat what he told to her. This was obviously done by the showrunners to purposely create audience suspicion against Charlotte Hale. It's just all very fishy. Why would he whisper something to Hale and then say it out loud for us to hear? It doesn't make sense. When Hale asks Bernard about the location of Abernathy's control unit, he flashes to a moment that we have yet to see in Season 2. Bernard is in a room, similar to the one he's in this shot from the preview, and he grabs a black control unit, which is presumably the control unit that once belonged to Peter Abernathy. We've speculated that Hale is working for a third party, so she might have kept the true location of Abernathy's control unit to herself, and has allowed Bernard to mislead Strand and his team. This moment, where Bernard calls Westworld a fucking nightmare, might be the same scene we saw in episode 7 where Bernard acquires Abernathy's control unit. Maybe he was brought here by Ford, and we also know that Dolores is currently the one in control of her father's control unit, so it's going to be interesting to see how it changes hands, where Bernard gains possession of it. These scenes could also be taking place inside of the facility that is housing William's secret project, the door that Akichita found in the previous episode. We know Bernard is going to get to the door in this next episode because in this shot, he's seen overlooking the location of its burial. We now know that this is the location where Akichita first found William's secret project, or what Akichita calls the door. Akichita returned to this location with his wife Koa, but the door was buried. And in the current timeline, it is still buried. This could be Ford still in control of Bernard, taking him to the location of the door, the place where Dolores and William are also headed. We still don't know if the Flooded Valley and William's secret project are the same thing, but we can assume this is where Bernard, Dolores, William, and Akichita are headed in the next episode. There is also a shot here of Bernard, and it looks like it's the same scene where William confronts Dolores. We see one of Delos's buggies behind Bernard, and there's also a buggy behind William. Maybe Bernard gets caught in between William and Dolores, but I don't know. Westworld is a big park. I'm sure they're all being chased by Delos, one way or another. And we also have a few shots of Maeve in this preview video. Now, we know she is going to escape the Westworld Mesa, but her health is still a question mark. She may end up like Bernard, struggling to survive and operate, in need of cortical injections every few hours. He or she is reunited with Hector and a bunch of other hosts. This could be the line of hosts that were being led to the door by Akichita, but the color palettes are a bit different in some of these shots. These two shots are more vibrant. The colors are really popping here, while the shots with Akichita and this shot with Maeve are a bit more dull. It could be as simple as these moments happening at different times of the day, or these could be just different scenes altogether. Maeve may have stumbled upon Akichita and his group in the middle of a firefight with Dolores. Again, in this moment with Maeve, the hosts can be seen fighting each other in the background. It's like the scene with Clementine when she's watching the hosts fight each other in the behavior lab. Delos may have found a way to hack the hosts and turn them on each other like Samuel L. Jackson in Kingsman. Maeve can be seen reaching out with her hand, possibly trying to stop the violence by taking control of the many different hosts. Or she might even be confronting Dolores. And as for Dolores, there are a couple of interesting shots of her in this preview video. The first one has Dolores inside of a room in which I speculated was Dr. Ford's old study. It's an old-fashioned library in a digital world, information that is being written down instead of being stored as data. So maybe this room contains some information as to how Dolores is going to use William's project as a weapon, like she said in episode 2, Reunion. She says the door, the valley beyond, William's project, it's not a place, it's a weapon. And this room also contains a view of the park, which is quite stunning, so maybe this room belonged to William, or maybe it belonged to Arnold or Ford or somebody of importance. There's something in this room that Dolores is looking for, and my guess here is that this scene takes place inside of the door, or it's close. Dolores is getting close. But yeah, I can't wait for these next 2 episodes. Season 2 is coming to a close. I can't believe it. It feels like it just started. It's unfair. Make it longer, HBO. And leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and we'll return next week to review episode 9, Vanishing Point. See you then.